Welcome to week 7, over and under. What a wild week I had last week. I had a real good week. I had 10 wins. I had a couple losses that I didn't think I should have had. Who would have dreamed that Tampa Bay would have went into Pittsburgh and gotten beat, but they did. I ended up picking a great game with the Jets game, though. However, in Green Bay, we thought I thought Green Bay was going to win the game pretty easily, but I went ahead and took a chance and gamble and took the points and ended up Jets beat the Packers. Packers look like they're in trouble right now, but anyway, week 7, let's get started. Our first game, to me, this is a difficult game to pick. It's the Bucks and Panthers. Bucks are favored by 13. That is too many points either way. I mean, Panthers just got rid of Christian McCaffrey. Their quarterback situation. Baker's still hurt. It just doesn't look good either way. Right now, the Bucks are playing horribly. Their offensive line, I guess you seen Brady last week go off on the offensive line, so they're not looking too good. So I'm going to keep it safe this week, and hopefully it'll work out for me. I'm going to take the Bucks and money line. Stay away from that 13 points.
Brian, I think I'll do the same. That's a lot of points. Anything could happen with that big of a spread. I wouldn't even touch the over and under here. To make a safe bet, I'm going to take the Bucks and the money line as well.
That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to start having to make some safe bets because I'm winning single games, but I'm not winning my parlays like I did last year. But I was a little bit more conservative last year on my parlays. I'm going to try to keep it to 2 or 3 games.
There's been a lot of upsets this year, too.
Yeah, there has been.
A lot of upsets.
And there normally is. Every week there's an upset, just if you pick it or not. All right, let's move on to our next game, which is another wild game to pick. The Packers versus Washington Commanders. Packers got beat last week by the Jets. I'm sure they're wanting to get back in the winning column. They're playing horribly, though. Their offensive line is not playing well. Their defense is not playing well. They give up a lot of points to the Jets last week. The Jets only had 100 yards passing, but my God, they scored over 20 points. Wild game. Packers are favored by 4.5. This is another game I'm going to go ahead and stay away from the points and try to play the money line and be safe on this one as well, Justin.
I think I'm going to take the Packers, Brian. I think they bounce back. They've had a rough 2 weeks. Aaron Rodgers, I think, will right the ship this week, so to speak. So I'm going to take the Packers money line this week.
He better, because right now they're in second place behind Vikings, so they better get right back in the winning column. They want to compete in that division. All right, our next game is Indianapolis Colts, who played pretty decent last week against Tennessee Titans. I don't know, Justin. I want the Colts to win because I'm from Indiana. But I don't see it. It's kind of tough. Tennessee's playing really good right now. They're running the ball well.
It's a hard game for me, too.
And it's a hard game to pick.
It's a really hard
It's a
game.
divisional game. I'm going to go ahead and try to be safe and go with the home team. And I'm going to give up the 2.5. And I think Tennessee's going to win by 3.
Brian, I think I'm going to go with the Colts. Last 2 weeks, they've found some offense a little bit. The defense can step up this game, stop the run. They've been pretty decent on the run this year. So I think the Colts go in Tennessee and upset the Titans. So I'm going to take the Colts money line this week.
All right, sounds good. Let's move on to our next game, which I had both of these teams last week to win, and the Falcons covered for me. The Bengals won. It was a great week for me in that aspect. This is a hard one because I like both teams. I really do. It's 6.5. Bengals are favored by 6.5 at home. Falcons have been covering. They've covered every single game this year, have they not?
They have.
I'm not breaking the trend. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the Falcons. Take the Falcons. Give me the 6.5.
Brian, I'm going to take the Bengals at home. I'm going to take the money line. I think the Falcons cover, but to be safe, this week I'm going to be really, really safe, and I'm going to take the Bengals at home. I'm going to take the money line.
All right, let's move on to our next game. Browns versus Ravens, another divisional game. Browns are getting 6.5. Over and under is 45. Man, Browns are playing horribly, aren't they? Not? They got the best running. They got the best running game in the NFL. They didn't show it last week, that's for sure. They looked horrible, man. They really did. Jacoby Brissett threw an interception the first 20 seconds of the game. That didn't start out too well. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and gamble this week. I'm going to take the Browns in the 6.5 is what I'm going to do in this game.
Brian, I think pass first happy there with the Browns the last couple of weeks. They got into a hole early, so they can't establish really the run game there when you're down a score or two to start the game. I'm going to go safe here on this one, too. I'm going to take the Ravens. The Ravens around 500. They should be leading the AFC. They got to figure out that fourth quarter play calling. That they have to figure out how to close games. So I think they win this one. I think it'll be within that 6.5 points. So I think this is going to be a close game. But I'm going to take the Ravens money line at home this week.
All right, let's move on to our next game, which is the Giants versus the Jags. Both upcoming teams. Giants have got a better record at 5-1. Jags have played everybody pretty decent though. They beat the Colts 24-0, and they lost to the Colts in a pretty close game. Man, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the hot hand. I'm going to take the Giants on this. I think they got too much to lose, so they should go in there to really get down and stay atop that division under Philadelphia, of course, and up there with Dallas. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Giants and give me the 3 points.
Brian, I'm going to go with the Giants money line this week. I think part of the spread, they have an upset this week in Jacksonville. And I'm going to take a bold one, and the over and under is 43. I'm going to go over that 43 points. I think this is a shootout.
All right, sounds great. Let's move on to our next game, which is Dallas. Lions versus Dallas. The Lions are getting 6.5. The over and under is 48, and that's because the Lions score so many points. They were, at the start of the year, they were scoring in the 40s. I mean, they were getting it in. They haven't looked good the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you. They covered more than anybody last year. I've been saying that all year, and they cost me a couple parlays, to be honest with you. I'm going to get off of the Lions this week, but I don't like that 6.5. The over and under is 48.5. Dallas defense comes out that shouldn't be that because Dallas is more of a running team, and they don't score as much. So if everything works out, it should be under 48. But I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the money line on this and take the Cowboys.
I think I'm going to go the same way, Brian. Per reports, Dak Prescott is back starting for Dallas this week. You never know coming off an injury what can happen with that. But that Dallas defense, I think, shuts down the Lions. That they've been playing horrible the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to take Dallas money line at home, and I'm going to stay away from everything else this week on that game.
All right, sounds great. Let's move on to our next game with Houston Texans versus the Raiders. Raiders are giving up 7 points. Over and under is 45.5. I don't know why it's so high at 7 points. The Raiders haven't won. They've only won one game all year, but they're probably the best 1-5 team out there right now. I can guarantee you that. They're due to explode. They look great. Their offense looked great. It looked great against Kansas City. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and gamble this week. I'm going to take the Raiders. I'm going to go ahead and give up I don't want to give up the 7 points, but I'm going to. You got to sooner or later. You got to gamble. I want to go ahead and just forget this game and go with the over and under and take over 45 is what I was really thinking about doing. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take this game right here and not bet the winner. I'm going to take the over 45.
That's a big line. 45 points. I could see the Raiders coming out and scoring this game. I'm going to be safe though. I think they get a win. I would lean towards the over on that 45 too. So I'm going to agree with Brian. I'm going to take the Raiders money line, and I'm going to go over that 45.5 this week.
Sounds great. All right, this should be an exciting game. The Jets were playing really well. Finally, after years, they got a pretty good start. They won last week up in Green Bay. Broncos, man, God, they can move the ball. There ain't no doubt about that. It's just getting in the end zone, man. They're having trouble getting in the end zone, are they not?
They are very.
I mean, I don't understand. Russell, he's playing. Everyone's dogging him. I thought he's playing pretty decent up until he gets to the 20-yard line.
He's missed a lot of open receivers this year, and
he's had a lot of drop balls too.
I'm clueless as to why.
He's had some drop balls as well, though. He ain't doing it on his own, believe me. I mean, they're all collapsing once they get down there to 20, but they have no problem moving the ball. So I'm gonna try to think my normal logic, which I do. They played the Chargers tough last week.
They should have beat the Chargers.
They should have beat the Chargers, no doubt about it.
Most of the game.
And my opinion, I think the Chargers are better than the Jets. So you know what I'm going to do? It's a 1 point, so it's just a pick'em game. I'm taking the home team, the Broncos, man. I think Russell's going to snap out of this red zone shit sooner or later, and it might as well be this week. Although I wouldn't be shocked if the Jets won, but I'm taking the Broncos. Over and under is 37. I'm staying away from that. Broncos haven't put too many points out there for sure, and who knows about the Jets? I don't know how truly real they are. If they're a really tough team or just got a couple good wins and played against some teams that are in some slumps. I don't know yet. We'll find out. But I look for the Broncos to break out of their little deal that they're in and cover the one for me and take them. I'm taking them all day.
I'm going to lean towards the same. Broncos in control of last week's game for most of the game, losing another close one because of red zone offense. I'm going to take the Broncos this week as well. Broncos lose, they're dropping to 2-5, and they don't make the playoffs this year. That is a colossal letdown for that organization. Hiring a new coach, getting a franchise quarterback. I think they win this game. Russell Wilson had another injury last week. He's ailing. But I'm going to take the Broncos money line. They're at home at Mile High. I'm going to take the Broncos money line, and I'm going to go over that 37.5 points. They don't miss. They don't continue to miss in the red zone like that all year. I do not think. If they do, it's very rare to see a coach fired after one season. But
He's not going to last.
He's not going to last long if they don't change that quick. We're almost halfway through the season. I think they snap out of it this week.
If he doesn't snap out, his ass is on a short leash. I can guarantee you that. He won't be there much longer. There ain't no doubt in my mind. All right, let's move on to our next game. Surprising Seattle Seahawks versus the Chargers. Over and under's 50. Seahawks are up there. They're in the top 5 in scoring. I mean, they can score. Ain't no doubt about that. They're not playing bad at all, really. I mean, they're not. They're getting 5 points. They're on the road. I took them last week. They covered for me. I don't know. I hate to bet against the Chargers. I kind of like the Chargers. I really do. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers and give up the 5. I'm going to gamble again this week. It's not a 100. I don't feel really good about it, but that's what I'm doing. I'm taking the Chargers and I'm going to give you the 5.
I think I'm going to go with the money line, and I'm going to take the Chargers. That 50 is a lot of points, but both of these teams can put up a lot of points. They got a lot of offensive weapons. So I'm going to take the Chargers money line, and I'm going to go over that 50 points this week, Brian.
All right. Let's move on to our next game, which should be a very exciting game. Both teams coming off a loss. Kansas City played a great game against Buffalo. They still had a shot to actually win the game. 49ers didn't look good at all last week, but they're injured. But they got them a new toy, Christian McCaffrey. So, I mean, that's going to open up Deebo Samuels a lot. I like that. Acquisition. I really do. I think it's going to be very beneficial to that offense. Like I said, it's going to open up Deebo up. He's going to be able to create some more, space. They're not going to, rely on him to run the ball as much. So I think he stays healthy. That keeps him healthier by not running the ball as much as he did. He was a big part of the offense. He's still going to be a big part of the offense. But Christian McCaffrey is a great running back. He really is. And if he's healthy, they're going to be tough. But, they got Joey Bosa's out right now. They've got Trent Williams is out right now. Kansas City, man, is the number 1 scoring team in the NFL. I'm not going to bet against the Chiefs, man. They're looking too good. They may have lost last week, but they still look great. I'm taking Kansas City and giving up the 2 points.
I'm going to take Kansas City as well. I'm curious of how they're going to fit McCaffrey into that offense. Kyle Shanahan is an offensive whiz. Kansas City they lost last week against the Bills, but that game could have went either way. So I'm going to take Kansas City on the road. I'm going to take the money line, and I'm going to go under that 49 point.
On our next game, which should be a pretty decent game, Tua is making his return. Miami looks really good before he got hurt, did they not? I mean, they looked really good. People had them as the number 1 team in the NFL for a while there, first 3 weeks, but he got hurt, and they haven't looked so great. But he's returning, and Pittsburgh, that's been my up and down all year, man. No matter what I do, if I pick them to cover or win, whatever, I've lost with them. I have not won. They've knocked me out of a couple parlays as well. God, man, so they've jinxed me, and I like Pittsburgh. I really do. I've been a Pittsburgh fan all my life. I used to watch them in the 70s when they had all them great teams. Terry Bradshaw actually watched when he was a quarterback. So let's see, man. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be safe again. I'm trying to get safer as the season moves along. I get a little reckless at the beginning because I never know, but I got a pretty good idea now. I'm going to go ahead and take Miami to money line is what I'm going to do. The spread is 7.5. I don't like that. Over and under is 45. I might take the over if I'm going to end up betting that. But as for my pick, I'm going to stay away from all that. I'm going to take Miami and be safe on the money line.
Brian, I think I'm going to take the same. Tua coming back from the injury. You never know how that goes. Pittsburgh's been everybody's Achilles heel this year. Inconsistent, but they've had injuries too. This one, I'm going to stay away from. Just to be safe, Miami is at home. I'm going to take the Miami money line this week, Brian.
Sounds great.
Just to be safe.
All right. Well, let's move on to our last game, which is our Chicago Bears against the New England Patriots. And this is my only loss on Thursday night, which I don't think I should have had. I think the Bears, God, if Money catches that ball, he caught it in the end zone and bobbled it out. I mean, they give it to him at the 1 yard line. That game is over. That's my only loss so far on Thursday night. My beloved Bears, and it made me sick. I'm betting with my Bears this week. I'm tired of betting against the Bears. I'm a Bears fan. I'm betting with the Bears and give me that 7.5. And I'm praying to God they cover because right now the Patriots are a pretty hot team. This is with my heart, not with my head. I'm taking the Bears in the 7.5.
I'm going to take the Bears too. As each week goes along, the Bears' offense is getting a little bit better each week. I feel like Patriots are really, really hot. They're at home. I'm going to take the Bears. Give me that 7.5 points, and I'm going to go over that 40, Brian.
I think that's a good bet. I was going to say the same thing. I think it's going to be over 40 as well. I really do. Matter of fact, I'm going to make a bet that it's over 40. I'm going to put that in one of my parlays. Good choice. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, I'd like to say, we didn't start off with please hit the like button and share. So let's go through that. Look, we're having some trouble with people leaving comments. We don't want you to leave comments on Facebook. I want you to go to our page on YouTube and leave a comment, please, to help us improve this. Please also hit the like button, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's helping a couple of lugs get their show going. It's just very beneficial for us, and also you'll get notified when we put our show out there when it comes out. We're going to try to start putting the show out a little bit earlier than what we have been. Maybe try to get it out by Wednesday so we can compete with the other shows that are already out by Tuesday. But anyway, I really appreciate everyone who hits likes and subscribe and leave comments, share, and helps us. It's very appreciated. That's no doubt about that. Thank you once again for joining us. Justin, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, if you comment, leave us what you have picked. Your wins, losses, etc. So we can compare with you and help you along the way because we're here to beat the bookies. Like Brian said, comment on YouTube. We're looking for the comments on YouTube. That's the easiest place where we can see your comments with the weird algorithm of Facebook. But like Brian said, leave us comments, like, and share, and hopefully you guys have a good week as well as we do, and we'll see you next week.
Well said. And like you said, we are here to help each other. You help us, and we help you. I mean, together we can beat these bookies. I mean, don't think we're against you because we're with you. We're trying to give you information to beat these guys, just like we're trying to beat them every single week. And I put my money where my mouth is. I gamble every single Sunday, no doubt about it. Monday and Thursday as well.
I'm a daily wagerer.
That's no doubt about that. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend. Let's get them guys.